How do you create a graph using Google Sheets or Excel? So for the water lab, you're supposed to generate a graph. First, go to your data table. There's a couple of ways that you can highlight the table to copy it. The first one is simply click in the first box, hold the left mouse button down, and then drag until everything is blue. And then right click and hit copy. Another way, a little bit more precise, is again, click in the first box, and then on your keyboard, with your left hand, hold the shift button down, and your right hand, use the arrow keys to go down and to the right, and then highlight everything. It's just a little bit more precise. It allows you that exact control. And then you can right click, or you can hit Control C to copy. So I've already right clicked and copied, but I want to make sure. Now go to your biology folder that you created for your class because you want to try to stay organized. Hit plus, then Google Sheets. Go to your very first box and then hit Control V, or you can right click and hit paste. Either way, it'll work. Now, I don't like having a space up here. I'm not sure how the how the graph would be impacted, but I don't like it. So go ahead and click, highlight it, right click again, and then hit delete row. Now, Excel and some other programs like for you to highlight what you are graphing. Google Sheets doesn't care. Go ahead and click on insert and then chart. Your chart's going to, so in this case, this time, sometimes it doesn't require you to do so. It says no data. So now it's going to want you to, let's see if this works. If I just highlight one box and then click chart. Okay, so as long as you have one of the boxes highlighted, it's going to know what you're talking about. The next thing, one of the first things we should have done is given this a title. So let's go ahead and call it Water Lab. It just allows you to find your spreadsheet much faster later on. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to attach it, find it, search for it. What do I do? Well, let's go ahead and drag this and resize it because I like working with larger graphs. We have an x-axis, we have a y-axis, and we have a title. If you want to make changes, double-click on the graph, and then on the right side, the chart editor will appear. You may click on Customize, make changes to your graph, such as the chart and axis title. So for example, if I want to change the chart title, click on that, and then here, highlight everything, Control A, delete, and then insert title. Insert title here. Now, if you don't like it being left justified, go down to the bottom and then go ahead and center justified. That's this option right here. You can do center left or right justify. I like my titles to be bold and italicized. Actually, I don't have a preference. And then you can also change the color. Many of you are going to want to play around with colors. Please check with your teacher. For most of the time, I prefer a plain looking graph, but your May teacher have different preferences. Now, if you needed to change the X and Y title, then you could double click on it if there is a title, or you simply go back to chart and axis titles and then drop down menu and then select what it is that you want. Okay, so these are correct, so that job is done for you, and it tells you it's degrees Celsius. You're all set there. Now, one of the things I always tell my students, you know that the y-axis is the dependent variable because right here you can make a D out of it, pretending that this is the back of the D, this line. And then your independent variable is found on the x-axis because this line right here, the x-axis, you can make an I. Imagine somebody put an I here with the bar at the top, and then the line down, and then the line at the bottom. So this makes an I, and this makes a D. Now, how are you going to get this graph once you put a title with it? You will simply click on this, and then click on Copy Chart. Go back to your lab, find Insert Graph, and then hit Control V. Link to spreadsheet. Why? Because now if you made a mistake, you can go back to the original, and then let's say we decided that we didn't like the title that we came up with. So insert title here, please. And let's go ahead and go back. And now if we click on the graph, there's a chance for me to update. I'm going to hit update. and then all the changes I made on the original spreadsheet will show up on this. Okay. Now, some of you might remember seeing this from 8th grade. This is a phase change diagram. Okay. There are two phase change points here and here. Those aren't important to the lab that you are doing, but it's always nice to say, hey, I remember doing this in 8th grade. And you might be able to apply some of that knowledge here. All right, so make sure you use that information, create your graph, make sure you label everything properly, and submit your graph and save yourself a lot of time instead of doing it by hand. Good luck.